All right, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. I've never really cared about Taylor Swift or much like celebrity culture in general. So it didn't really mean much to me to find out that Taylor Swift is engaged to Travis Kelce now. I thought they were already engaged or possibly married already, so shows what I know. But this is undeniably a huge cultural event that a lot of people are talking about. And believe it or not, I do have a lot to say about this. Hey everyone, my name's Christian, and I have a lot to say about many things. I want to talk about the engagement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and how everybody is reacting to it. We're going to start with Brett Cooper because, well, you'll see why.
Of the show because Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce just broke the internet with their engagement announcement, and I have a few reasons why you need to care. Even
for the record, this is such a big event. There were legitimately people like stopping news broadcasts, regular news broadcasts, to be like, all right, we're going to cover this now instead. It's like, okay, all right, I guess, like, go off, whatever.
If you're a guy, even if you are not a Swiftie. So, for some context, some recap.
For some context on me, real quick, by the way, what I know about Taylor Swift is I know the song Love Story. I have a friend who is like super into Taylor Swift. He and his husband even like they were both really big into Taylor Swift, so they like had this cute like Taylor Swift themed it was like the engagement was based off of a music video and stuff. It was really sweet. When he told me the story, I was like, that's awesome, man. But yeah, so like I don't really know much about like Taylor. I said I know Love Story. Back when I was like making music, I did a few covers of some of her music. Blank Space was one of them. It was like new at the time. I liked oh god, it did Look What You Made Me Do, which I did not like at all originally. It was just way too repetitive. Kind of like, well, anyway. Um, yeah, so I but you know, her music's never really been for me. She hasn't really been someone that I've really like gravitated toward much on like a lyrical level, or a I don't really find her that attractive, so it's not really something where it's like, okay, I don't like care about her as an artist, but she's a hot chick, so I like her. You know, so like there's been nothing that I've been like, okay, I like her. She's been someone for me. There are many things in this world, and I think this is something that like people should be also more comfortable about actually doing. She's one of those people who I can like appreciate for what she's done and how far she's come, and you know the fact that she's like the biggest like performer on the planet and everything. I can appreciate her work and understand why people love her so much. But personally, I don't get it. You know what I mean? But regardless, so that's kind of my context to get into that here. But regardless, let's. So I'm not a Swiftie. So regardless, let's get into that. This.
Just a few hours ago, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, they did a collabed post on Instagram. They posted photos from the proposal. They said your favorite English teacher and your favorite gym teacher just got engaged. It was very sweet. Everything's lovely. The ring is beautiful. We'll get into that later. That's not part of the.
Maybe that's a little too fast. Yeah, no, I did think it was funny. I saw something people saying like on Reddit or something. Your favorite English teacher and gym teacher got engaged, and I thought it was like people were like making that joke on their own accord. I didn't realize that was on the post, but yeah.
Cultural conversation, but if you're interested in that, I do have some details. Anyway, they announced this and the world just exploded. Like the internet came to a screeching halt. I was seeing posts on X from people being like, oh my god, Fox News just cut away from a cabinet meeting to say Taylor Swift is officially engaged. This is how big it is. And I made the joke.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like they were literally in the middle of something and they were like, oh, and then it was funny because like back in 24, Taylor did this whole thing where like she urged people to vote for Harris over Trump. And Trump said he like put on Twitter, or not Twitter, Truth, I guess, about how he hated Taylor Swift and she was like not worthy of anything and all this like crazy shit. And people have told her now basically that oh, you know, they got engaged and everything, and when they stopped the press conference, they were like, "Yeah, I have to ask you about this," and he was like, "Oh, I think that's lovely. That's great that they're, like, it's like, come on, dude. Like, it's so fucking like what I don't know, whatever. Anyway, point is, this is like a huge like cultural moment.
On X, and I said, if there was ever a time for a politician to release a story to the press that they don't really want to get any traction on, if they want to like quietly release everything they know about Epstein, now would be the time, because nobody else cares. Every single brand, every single mainstream media outlet, every single publication, everybody, including myself, is focusing on Taylor Swift. That is how massive this is. You have.
I want to point something out here, by the way. This is probably the most authentic I've ever seen Brett Cooper. She had that show with the Daily Wire, the comment section, where she had like a fake bedroom behind her, and it was like supposed to be like authentic, but it was clearly like fake. And like now she's actually in her living. Oh no, this is a bed. This is her bedroom. She's actually like in her bedroom, like fucking filming shit. It's kind of nice, but as for me, the green screen will stay.
This is, sorry guys, I can't even speak. There's so much going on. But you have like Buffalo Wild Wings, you have Culver's, like all of these random restaurants and big corporate accounts tweeting, being like, we'll cater the wedding, we'll cater the engagement. Like everybody is 100% focused on this. And I think that this is, for a couple of reasons. Number one, Taylor Swift is like the biggest pop star in the entire world right now. You have women that care about her and that are interested in her and her marriage and her engagement. Travis Kelce is also wildly famous and popular around, American men, people who care about football. Alex and I were eating lunch. He picked up his phone and his fantasy football app had literally been like, guys, special announcement, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged.
Well, that makes sense because it's like it's a crossing of two worlds. So yeah, that makes sense too.
So it is literally everywhere. But also, I do think that this speaks to a broader conversation about love and marriage in 2025, specifically on the topic of forever boyfriends, because Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift just got engaged after 2 years of dating. And that might seem like normal in the grand scheme of things, but in 2025, when you go on social media and you see girls that have been with their boyfriends for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that are still waiting on an engagement, that are these like forever girlfriends, this kind of relationship can seem like an anomaly. And Taylor Swift basically just blew up that entire idea that you have to be a forever girlfriend in order to get the ring. That is just not true. Because if we think about her previous relationship with Joe Alwyn, she was with that man for 7 years.
One thing that I definitely have a ton of respect for Taylor for, aside from even just like her work as an artist, is that she has been known as like a joke for so many people that like, oh, she just writes about breakup songs and all these different things, when it's like, no, like there's obviously more to her. And the reality that this person who was constantly made fun of for writing breakup songs, breakup anthems, whatever, would now find love and is getting married is like, that's beautiful. I do want to just say real quick here though, I feel like this is kind of what the bulk of this is going to turn into, at least responding to Brett's video here. I don't like the, kind of this like insinuation that, for one, if a relationship doesn't lead to marriage or doesn't end in marriage or whatever, then it's like not as valuable or as real or whatever as it was if it was, like she said, a forever, basically forever partner, forever boyfriend, forever girlfriend, whatever. I don't really like that insinuation. Also, like, it's okay to just be single in life if you want to be single. If you want to just not have anybody in your life, not have any romantic or sexual partners in life, that's fine. That's not something I want personally, but like, it's okay to be that way. And I think that this pressure that we put on so many people to like get married, have children, like all these different things, a lot of people do these things not because they legitimately want to, but because they feel like they have to. And what's crazy, as Brett is kind of getting into here, and we'll see her get into a little bit more later, is there are many people who very much have this idea that like this is such an anomaly for people to get married. Like, oh, no one's getting married anymore. It's people are having weddings all the time. The wedding industry is not suffering. Like, people are, yeah, it's like this imagined like idea that people just aren't getting married or finding love anymore. It's difficult in a lot of ways, but it's still happening.
And there have been rumors that Shay was like actually engaged to him, but it was really private. But he was this like artsy, like deep actor, all of these things. He like desperately wanted his privacy, wanted her to hide the relationship. She was like not in the public eye for 7 years straight. and basically dragged her along in that relationship. And I'm not
By the way, I have no idea who this other person is, like what they're talking about, what she's talking about here.
just saying that because I'm speculating, like, this is what she wrote about in one of her previous albums. In her song You're Losing Me, she said, like, I gave all of my youth for free to you. In So Long London, I believe that she wrote something very similar. Those two lines, sometimes I get confused, but she wrote about this at length, saying, like, I gave you all of my great years and you took advantage of that. Like, I poured so much into this relationship, just waiting, like, hanging on. In So Long London, she writes about, like, clenching onto the relationship, like, white knuckling it, being like, I'm not going down with the ship, I'm not abandoning it. And then 7 years later, getting nothing back and realizing I've just, like, let my life be on hold and I've been waiting for this person who doesn't want to commit to me. Anyway, that.
Okay, I gotta say, it's really nice to see her talk about something that she's like really passionate about, because so often so much of the content you see from her and people like her is like hateful, and it's like, oh, they're transing the kids, they're doing that. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen much of Brett's like her own work outside of the Daily Wire, so maybe she has a more positive content she can make on her own channel now, which, if that's the case, great. Glad you cut yourself off from the Daily Wire. But it's just it's nice to see somebody like, let's like nerd out about this kind of thing. That's something we're going to get into a little bit here too. There are people who are clowning on her and others that are like really excited about this, or, oh, who cares, like this doesn't matter, there are bigger things happening in the world. First of all, there are always bigger things happening in the world. The reality is, like, dude, let people enjoy things. We have, like, many people have such a need to yuck other people's yum, and I find it really fucking stupid. Like, I don't care about Taylor Swift's engagement, but for the people that do, let them have this. Let them enjoy it. For the people that are trying to, do this weird thing that Brett seems to be getting into, like, that's a little weird. But in general, let people enjoy it. Like, that's good. Let people enjoy good things. And everybody, this is something I'm going to get into a little bit more later here. What Brett is doing here, this is kind of following that, fuck it, I'll just get into it now. This is kind of getting into this, what Brett's doing here, she's nerding out. And it kind of gets into this trend I've been seeing. Fair, full disclosure, I haven't actually watched any of these videos yet. I thought about it, but then I was like, I think I get the idea and I don't really care. Where people on YouTube primarily have been like negatively talking about this, like, you need to nerd out trend, where, okay, this guy might have a good take on it, but essentially it's people saying that, like, oh, this isn't nerding out because this is like common stuff. You're not nerding out, you just like common things, like, whatever. Like, nerding out is, I don't know, manga and anime and comics and what video games or whatever. Like, but here's, gaslight and gatekeep. Fandoms have become insufferable. You're not a nerd. And this is kind of my point. Like, yes, you are. Like, to be just passionately interested in something is to be a nerd about something. You can be a nerd about, like, normie common things like TikTok or Instagram or Starbucks or whatever. I was explaining this to a friend of mine where I was like, look, this is no different. People being like obsessing over this Taylor thing is no different than, like, if you told me, oh, there was this interview about the next phase of the MCU, or this actor said this or whatever. It's like, it's the same shit. Like, it's all stuff that doesn't actually matter to you personally, and it's all stuff that doesn't really matter to the grand scheme of things. But for people that care about it, it's a big fucking deal. Let people enjoy things. There's no need to criticize this, like, nerding out trend, or to criticize people that are, like, excited. Like, look at, I mean, this is a weird, like, place to pause, but just, like, look at she's enjoying talking about this. Like, okay, he looks kind of scared, but look, the excitement, like, what's wrong with this? Why is this level of excitement and genuine, authentic joy and interest in something, why is that so shat on by so many people? Like, genuinely, why? Why can't we just enjoy things and look at it where it's like, hey, I don't get it, but you do you. Enjoy what you like. Why do people have to be like, this doesn't matter? Or, even people that have been like correctly, pointing out that like, oh, well, we have we're right on the brink of an economic collapse. We have a genocide happening in Gaza and all these other different things. This kind of stuff doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, you want to like bread in a circus, sure, whatever. But dude, just let people enjoy things, man. Like, there's a time and a place to acknowledge and critique and deal with huge issues that are happening in the world. But there's also a time and a place to just enjoy things. And it's okay if people freak out like this. It's actually really sweet. It's like one of the most human things that we do. We people are like this in relationships too. Where like a lot of guys, especially, will kind of like clown on other guys for like doing cute shit with their girlfriend or whatever. And it's like, dude, like, I'm sorry, I'm excited to like spend time with and be interested in my girl. Like, I don't. What's the problem? I don't understand this like contempt that many people have for people just enjoying things. It reminds me of that meme. I guess it originally came from Little Caesars, but Little Caesars tastes so good when you ain't got a bitch in your ear telling you it's nasty. This applies to so many things. So many things are so enjoyable when you're just not listening to the annoying naysayers that are like, oh, actually, this record is like, for example, MGK just released a new record, Lost Americana. I've been listening to it pretty much on repeat since it was put out. I've really loved his transition from a rap to rock and roll, and I like how he's kind of mixed in rap and rock and roll together, kind of like Linkin Park. But I really like his music now in general. But there are a lot of people, like Anthony Fantano being one of them, who's always like, every record he does, especially any rock record, he's like, oh, it's not good, it's terrible. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I was interested in what he had to say, right? But I'm like, I don't have to care about what you're saying. Like, I like what I like, you like what you like, we all like what we like, and generally we can find community of other people that enjoy things that we do as well, especially online. I mean, I've talked about this many times before, but like, I'm a huge Sonic fan. I grew up with people constantly shitting on my interest. You know what I mean? Especially, and even on the internet. So I found like a small group of people on the internet who actually liked and appreciated the Blue Blur and the franchise that it encompassed. And like, then you can enjoy it so much more. So all this just to say that like, when people freak out like this, it's actually really sweet and touching. And also, like, if you're going to be like a naysayer and be like, oh, this shit doesn't matter or whatever, great, you want to fucking meddle? Fuck off. Let people enjoy what they enjoy. Don't fucking yuck other people's yums. Anyway, moving on.
That was her previous relationship. She was the forever girlfriend. She moves on. She meets this incredible guy who comes to her concert, who literally has like a friendship bracelet with his number on it, who was publicly making these huge declarations of love. Which she said in her recent podcast episode with him and Jason, she was saying like these.
By the way, I think Brett said something also about like not really being much of a Swiftie. Brett, it's okay. You're a huge fan of Taylor Swift. You can own that. It's all right.
This is the kind of love that I've written about for 15 years. Like, I've wanted a guy to like show up with a boombox and be like, I love you, I want to be with you. And that's basically what Travis did. And they've had this like amazing love affair over the last 2 years, and now they're engaged, in a fraction of the time that she was in that relationship with Joe Alwyn. So that's one part of it. So you do not need to be a forever girlfriend if you are in a relationship like that. I'm sure that the guys are like, oh my God, I need to go buy a ring. Girls are rethinking everything, which brings me to the next point of why this engagement is so relevant and important right now. And it's because I don't know if there are any hard studies on this. I don't think that there are, but celebrity relationships and celebrity marriages play a huge role in the cultural tone of an era. Like, think about David Beckham and Victoria Beckham and their wedding. Think about, Princess Kate and Prince William and their wedding. That was huge. The royal wedding was talked about for years. Just, a couple of years ago, we had Sophia Richie's wedding, which basically made so many women, decide that they wanted.
Who are these people? Like, I just heard about Bezos getting married recently, and like a ton of celebrities were there, but like, who the fuck is Sophia Richie? This is what I mean. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't mean this in like a demeaning way, but I mean, like, it's crazy, like how much shit there is out there that like you don't know about, I don't know about, but like people who like they're so tapped in,
To get married and have kids, that they wanted to stop dressing like hoes and be classy. She like ushered in this like quiet, luxury, modest type of fashion.
Okay, so this I take issue with. This moralizing of Taylor's wedding. Look, Taylor and Kelsey are engaged, and okay, let's also be real about this fact. You guys know engagements can get broken off, right? You guys know people can get divorced, right? Like, this doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be together forever. And I don't say that to, like, I don't know, be a Debbie Downer on the situation or whatever. Just, again, this, like, pressure that we put on people to get with somebody and to stay with somebody forever is insane. We all change a lot throughout our life. To expect that I'm going to be the same person the day that I potentially get married, and I'm going to be that same person my entire life, and my wife is going to be that same person as well, that's insane. I'm kind of the opinion that it might be better to just, be a forever boyfriend and forever girlfriend, and that way, when you inevitably need to separate for whatever reason, you can do that with there being, like, breakups are already messy enough, heartbreak and all that stuff. You shouldn't have to have like the legal issues of divorce and everything too. It's also why I'm of the point that, like, if people want to set up what it's going to look like when they get divorced while they're getting married, that's fine too, because then they understand, like, this is what's going to happen, this is what I'm going to get, this is what you're going to get, this is what we're going to do, all those different things. These are conversations people don't normally like to have, but like, everything comes to an end eventually. There's a great, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's been on a couple different podcasts and stuff. He's a divorce lawyer, and he talks about how, divorce ends in one of two ways. Either it ends in death, marriage ends in one of two ways, either death or divorce. And that's true. That's why when people get married, when they say their vows, they say till death do us part. It's, everything ends, and like, I know that's kind of sad, but that's why we need to enjoy it in the time that we have. And I also think that even a relationship that just lasts a couple months or a week or even a night can still be incredibly valuable. It doesn't have to lead to marriage or stay in marriage or children or whatever to be a valuable relationship. And that's the only issue that I have with like what Bright is talking about here, is she's talking with this idea as if like, oh, this is going to usher in this whole thing where people are going to want to get married and stuff. People want to get married in general. The main reason people aren't getting married that much nowadays is, well, largely it's finances. You also have the whole like dating crisis people are having in general, the loneliness epidemic we're all dealing with in general, but like finances are a big reason for it. Like, yeah, which Brett advocates for a lot of things that make those finances worse and make it less likely for people to get married. So take that as you will. But anyway, yeah, and then this whole like obsession with modesty and stuff, that's insane to me as well.
Like, these relationships, these weddings, these marriages, they have the power to change culture. And if you think that Taylor Swift getting married, being engaged, being in a long-term relationship is not going to do that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is the end-all be-all for women around the world right now. I was about to say women in America, but really around the world right now. And you might think that this is kind of ridiculous, but she is signaling that marriage is something to strive for, that love is worth seeking out, that you should wait for an amazing guy, that you should, follow that institution,
Okay, this is the other crazy thing. It's like, dude, she's dated and, yes, slept with, as horrible as that might be to people like Brett, and fallen in love with and broken up with, and have written many songs about previous loves that she's had. It's not like she waited forever for Travis to come along. Like, she found this love. They found this love together. They found love in a hopeless place by going about their life. And if she didn't have the experiences she had before, and he didn't have the experiences he had before, they probably wouldn't have found each other. So it's crazy when people talk about this kind of stuff. They have this example of someone where, oh, they've gone through all these different things and then they finally found their one true love or whatever. It's like, whoa, wait. First of all, the people that they like were with before them, they matter too. But also, like, they wouldn't have found this person if it weren't for those other relationships and experiences. So, like, what are you talking about here?
Seek that commitment, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And so I'll be interested to see what comes from this. I doubt that they're going to do some huge elaborate wedding. I feel like it'll be more of an elopement. I don't think she would, I feel like she would blow up the wedding industrial complex if she tried to do some big kind of wedding.
That's another thing. Like, if I ever get married, I want to have a smaller wedding with just like family and close friends. Now, if I do get married and my wife is like, oh no, we need to have this like huge thing, I'll be like, all right, like whatever, let's figure out how we can like meet in the middle on this, or what have you. But yeah.
But I think that this marriage really is going to change things, and I think that it is objectively positive. Like, regardless of how you feel about Taylor Swift, like I would not consider myself.
I want to be clear on this too. I think it's objectively positive as well. Not because it's gonna like change the cultural narrative on marriage or whatever, but just because, like, dude, it's a really beautiful thing seeing people come together and celebrate their love for each other. Now, again, I don't think that has to be through marriage, but yes, it's also beautiful to acknowledge and to see that, okay, these people are wanting to commit to each other like legally and stuff as well. They're wanting to get married and have this like huge public display of their love and all that. Like, that's sweet. That's cute. That is something to celebrate. But the direction some of these people take it in is just crazy, man.
A diehard Swiftie. I was not like a Swiftie for years and years and years.
Oh, here's where she says she's not. I watched this before, but here's where she says she's not a Swiftie. I don't know. You're talking like a Swiftie.
But I do love her music, and I think that she's a really interesting person and a really interesting case study, and she's really important when it comes to our culture. But I do think that this is objectively positive, and what I was trying to say is that even if you are not a diehard fan, you should see this as something that is good. And I know that conservatives like to rag on her. Trump was posting, a couple months ago being like, I ended her, she's irrelevant. No, she's not. Like, love her or hate her, she is incredibly, incredibly influential. She is incredibly popular, and we should be rooting for her.
I didn't know she was allowed to speak against the king like that.
To set a good.
Wait, oh, that's her background audio. I thought that was my microphone. No, that's hers. You hear that little like hissing sound?
Example for women and men around the world, and I think that she is doing that now with this engagement, with this marriage. So anyway, I wish her all the best. This was a very exciting thing to spend my day reading about, and then for any of the chicks out there who are interested in her ring, because I was 100% interested in it.
She's not a diehard Swiftie anymore, guys, but she's still like super into the ring and all this other crazy shit. Like, just own it. You're nerding out. That's okay.
Stunning. It's like very intricate. It looked antique. So I texted our jeweler that made my engagement ring with Alex, who's become a really good friend of ours. That feels like so bougie to say, but he just has become a good friend. And I was like, I need information about this. So according to Oren, that's his name. According to Oren, it is an elongated old mine cut ring, and most likely antique or antique inspired. And he said that it's really rare to have a mine cut that is that big. So just saying, good job, Travis. Allegedly, it was like $550,000, which is like literally insane. But also she's a billionaire and he makes however much money from like the NFL and Pfizer. So it is to be expected. Anyway, that is your update about Taylor Swift. Those are the reasons why you should care. I think this is good for culture. It is good for society. It is good for young women. This is setting a great example. And also, it just has to be said, for the guys online who say that women like hit a wall at 28 years old, who say you're never gonna have kids after 28 or 30, you're never gonna have any prospects, you're never gonna get married. Come on. Taylor Swift just got engaged at 35 years old. She is at the top of her career. She is so happy. She is succeeding. She is thriving. She is stunning. She's not hit the wall. So if you are not engaged or married by 28 or 30 or 35, just know you have not hit the wall. It is not too late. This is always something to strive for. Love is something that you should seek out. You should find a good man. You should find a good woman. And you should not be red-pilled by people on the internet. Black-pilled by people on the internet. So that's my message for you today. All right. See you guys later.
Okay. I like that point at the end she made also about how, like, basically, if you're older, it's not over. It's okay. You can still find love and all those different. I actually really like that. That's true. That's a good message. The only thing I don't like that. I mean, no, I do like that. She's kind of, and even calling out that like kind of red pill mentality of like the wall and stuff like that. Yeah, like different things happen for people at different stages in life. So, you could get married young and you can find the love of your life. You can get married young and divorce and hopefully find love again. You can take years before you get married for the first time or have any relationships or what have you. Like, we're all going through life at our own pace. Yeah, that's definitely a good message. I do just want to stress again, I think it's important. I think this obsession that we have as a society with marriage, specifically with romantic love and all that, is very detrimental, because I think in reality a lot of people just aren't meant to actually find love. There are a lot of people who just aren't interested in it, for example, and that's okay. Not everybody needs to get married or have kids or what have you. We all have different things in our life that we might want to do and excel at, and all those different things. So I do think it's important to kind of like point that out, that while yes, it's never too late to find love or to like achieve your dreams or whatever it is, at the same time, don't nobody should feel pressured to find love or have children or whatever because it's what they're supposed to do. You should only do those things, God, especially bringing another person into this world. You should only do these things because it's what you want to do and what you think you're capable of handling and everything, not because it's what you feel like you're supposed to. There's a lot of people who have children that should not have ever had children. That's just a very true fact of life. Probably will never change. But from that kind of sweet thing of Brett just completely fangirling over it, we move over to Charlie Kirk, and oh my god, he has a lot to say about many things. Stealing my bit. Does Charlie know who I am? I'm kidding. Of course he doesn't. All right, here at Bitcoin, see what he has to say.
Studio. This is monumental breaking news. This is bigger than ending the Russian-Ukrainian war. This is bigger than the Trump election. This is bigger than Butler, Pennsylvania. I mean, this is.
It's not bigger than any of those things, but like for people who are highly invested in this, sure, but generally, no, it's not bigger than any of those things.
Seismic, earth-shattering stuff. Everybody, you will remember where you were. This is bigger than World War II, honestly. This is bigger than storming the beach, than Iwo Jima, D-Day. You will remember where you were sitting. You remember what you were drinking and eating and feeling and sensing. I mean, it's just honestly, it might be bigger than the founding of America. This is a whole new founding. This is a new birth of something. This is what, of course, I'm talking about is this is a moment that
is Kirk a major Swiftie? Is that what we're going to find out here?
That will live in infamy. Taylor Swift is now engaged to Travis Kelce. Now, has she been engaged before? I need my Taylor Swift historians to. I think she has. I could be wrong. Now, this is major news. Everyone is talking about.
One thing I want to point out about this too is, like, guys, celebrities get engaged and married and divorced and stuff all the time. I mean, especially celebrities. Like, Brett was talking about celebrities, and I wanted to think of this. It's like a really famous celebrity couple that kind of went sour, but everybody loved at one point. It was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Like, people loved that relationship and them and everything. And, like, that didn't work out. It happens. Especially with these, these people who are high status and they have all these options and they're, often spend a long time away from each other. Like, yeah, these relationships don't necessarily last. I'm not saying that means theirs is doomed. It could last. I really think the relationship between Tom Holland and Zendaya, Zendaya Coleman, is really strong. No one ever says her last name. I find that interesting, so I want to say her last name. I think that is really strong, and I think their marriage is going to be beautiful. But again, like, even if people don't get married, or you get married and call off an engagement or whatever, you can still be in love and happy and enjoy your relationship in your life. And I don't know, it's just weird how people talk about this stuff.
About it. Travis Kelce, the pharmaceutical spokesperson, and Taylor Swift, the pop star.
Wait. You're going to introduce Travis Kelce as what pharmaceutical? Oh, wait. Brett said something about, so what, he spoke on Pfizer or something? Okay. Dude, he's like a running back or something for like, what is it, the Kansas City Chiefs. He does some football thing. I don't know sports, but he plays on that team. What is he, the quarterback or something? I don't know. Someone said he's like a tight end, which I thought was, they were saying he's a tight ass at first. Apparently, it's a sports term. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't care about sports.
Are now officially engaged. Okay, where am I? We couldn't hear him. What did we ask? Emma says she has not been engaged, so this is a first. Now, look, it is no mystery that I'm not the world's biggest Taylor Swift fan. However, I think there's actually something here that we should all celebrate. How often do we on this program talk about the 3 M's make you a better citizen and more conservative, which of course is mortgage, marriage, and mating.
How does mortgage make you a better citizen? I'm going to have to... Will he explain that?
And so Taylor Swift obviously has plenty of mortgages. She's got more homes than I'll ever have. She's incredibly wealthy. But maybe one of the reasons why Taylor Swift has been so just kind of annoyingly liberal over the last couple of years is that she's not yet married and she doesn't have children. I say this non-sarcastically. I say this as a husband and a father. Having children changes you. Getting married changes you. And I hope that America's biggest pop star marrying the pharmaceutical spokesperson ends up conservatizing them. Taylor Swift might de-radicalize herself. She might come...
Oh my God. What the... Why, dude? Why can't they be normal about this shit? Holy... Oh my God. All right. Okay. First of all, I don't get the mortgage thing. Yes, having kids changes you, but like, do they not realize that there are plenty of people who are left-leaning or liberal or whatever that have kids that get married? Like, this isn't... It's not a conservative thing to have kids and get married. It's a very human thing. I mean, it's an institution that like we made, but like, I don't. What does this have to do with like not being a liberal or not, or like what are we talking about?
Back down to reality. I
always find it hilarious when people talk about this idea of like, oh, you know, having more responsibility or getting older or whatever. Oh, you'll become more conservative as you get older, dude. I was like center right leaning, I guess you could say, throughout like most of my life. It wasn't until like it wasn't until I was like 23 that I started like really examining my beliefs and came to the conclusion that I had to change a lot of them. You know, there were a lot of things I believed that were not good, and things that I needed to. And for me, that like ultimately stemmed from trying to get deeper in my faith of Christianity and realizing that wasn't real, and it was all downhill from there. But well, it was downhill as far as my beliefs went. It was uphill as far as like my life went. I don't know. You get what I mean. But no, this weird idea these people have, as if these people, like, just because you're like a Democrat or something, they have kids, dude. Like, you know this. Also, I have a knack for just pausing at weird frames, don't I? Looks like dude's about to sneeze.
Them to have lots of children. It teaches you something about yourself. Deep down, I think Taylor Swift actually was raised as a conservative that has gotten kind of caught up in this metropolitan liberal stuff, and she doesn't quite...
She might have been. It's funny, okay. There's also a myth that many conservatives like to say, of essentially this idea that, like, you know, when you go to college or whatever, like, oh, they brainwash you or whatever. No, people are just exposed to new ideas and see people different than them and all that, and that humanizes them. And now the trans person or the racial minority or whatever is not just this like abstract thing, but now they're like their barista at Starbucks, or their classmate, or their someone they see on the bus ride, or someone they serve in the supermarket, or, you know, whatever it is. Like, so you know, people are really obsessed. A lot of conservatives are really obsessed with that idea that like you know, college kids and stuff are like brainwashed or whatever. When people go to college, you know, young adults, the second they leave home, like, oh, they're brainwashed. No, they're just seeing a different way of life and are realizing there's more to life than what I was taught. And yeah, when they're exposed to new ideas, if they have an open mind, they are more malleable to them.
Have an attachment to the conservative backbone that she was raised in, but this might reattach her in the best possible way. And I'm not saying this sarcastically. I've seen this happen time and time again. When people start to get married and have children, it starts to change your politics. It starts to clarify your worldview. And for Taylor Swift, who obviously is very popular and incredibly...
It's really crazy also because, like, you know what else happens? There are people who love their children so much that they might be a staunch, like, homophobe or transphobe or whatever, but then all of a sudden, now their kid is gay. Now their kid is trans. They have to contend with this fact. And, you know, you see quotes all the time where people say, like, I'd rather have an alive daughter than a dead son. Things like that, right? So there are people who, yes, they do change their minds and they become more open-minded and accepting when their kid now represents this political, social, religious, whatever difference that they only knew as the other before, but is now, like, they're being faced with that. And it's like, what do you do? Do you accept this? Or do you keep trying to fight this? You know, it's the same thing with, like, a lot of racist people. Yeah, there's a lot of racist people who have huge issues with, like, their white daughter dating or marrying a black guy. But there are also plenty of people who, yeah, we're probably, like, racist about it at first, but then eventually we're like, you know what? If they make you happy, if you guys are happy together, I'm happy for you. And same thing with, like, gay people and trans, like, all, because most people who have so here's the weird thing, right? People like Charlie Kirk have this idea that children are these, like, it's a mini you that you're supposed to, like, make more like you, and you're supposed to basically, like, control everything they think and say and all this stuff and, like, raise them to be just like you. I like to look at children as they're not a blank slate, but they're not a mini you either. They are a person that your job as a parent is to help them grow into the person they want to become. Sure, you can introduce them to new ideas and ways of thinking and all those different things. And yes, you want to instill your values in them and stuff, but, like, at the end of the day, they are their own person. And a lot of these people, like Charlie Kirk, a lot of these conservatives cannot accept that fundamental fact about being a parent. They are people who I would give as examples of people who should not have children, because there are a lot of people who have them and they just want, like, a mini version of themselves, or they want to use them as some trophy to, like, achieve great things and say, oh, look what my kid did. It's like, yeah, your kid, not you. You know, it's crazy. I don't know.
Supported. Taylor Swift might go from a cat lady to a JD Vance supporter, and I think we should celebrate that. I think that Taylor Swift having 2 or 3 children, she should have more children than she has houses. That is my challenge, Taylor Swift, and I'm not being sarcastic. I think that if she ends up having children, she'll stop this kind of liberal endorsing Joe Biden nonsense. And we want Taylor Swift on Team America. We want you to leave the island of the wokies. And we would welcome you with open arms. One of the reasons why so many people on the right have been just skeptical or at least a little bit negative on Taylor Swift is, up until this point, that's not a great role model for young women. To wait all the way until you're 35 and just put your career first. We just talked about this with Katie Miller. However, there's a great chance to change that. There's a great chance for Taylor.
So that's a funny thing, too. I always find it hilarious how, like, these trad wives and people are talking about how, like, oh, a woman's place is, you know, in the kitchen and shouldn't really be able to speak on things and stuff. And it's like, you dumb bitch. And yes, I mean bitch in their case, because they actually are dumb bitches. You are doing exactly what you speak against. What are you talking about? I don't know. People I don't know. People are really weird about this shit. It's I don't know. It's crazy. It's like, I don't know. What did he say?
Women to wait all the way until you're 35 and just put your career first. We just talked.
Yeah, like, dude, if you, like, what's wrong with building yourself until you're, like, in your early to mid 30s or whatever, and, like, now you have a life built. Now you want to bring someone on board for your life and, like, continue building your life together. You don't necessarily want to again, if you find love when you're super young or whatever, that's great. But yes, you want to build a life with somebody else. You don't want to, like, bring someone in, like, where they come in from ground zero and then you've already got everything established. But you can build yourself up in your life, and you should have a life worth bringing someone else into, not be in a position where like you need to have somebody else to even start your life. Like that's not a healthy way to go about life and relationships at all.
Talk about this with Katie Miller.
And I say that as somebody who, like, I have been that person for a long time, and I have to like consciously not be that person and understand that, like, all right, I'm building my life, I'm building myself up, I building myself into the man that I want to be. Then I will be able to attract the kind of women in my life who I want to date and or potentially marry. And that's what you do. You build yourself up, give yourself attractive qualities, and you bring those people into your life.
However, there's a great chance to change that. The great chance for Taylor Swift now to get married and have a ton of children. You can certainly afford it, Taylor.
Why are these people obsessed with women being baby factories? I don't understand it, dude. I really don't fucking get it, man. Why are you so obsessed with how many children a woman has? Why does it fucking matter? Oh my god, it's so disgusting, man. It's so disgusting. I don't know, dude. It's so weird. By the way, this is a great example. I like to talk about this a lot, how like I like to point out how, like, you know, acknowledging that you find a woman or women attractive is not objectification. Sexualization and objectification are different things. You can find somebody, physically, sexually appealing, what have you, without objectifying them, and you should be able to do that. If you don't, you probably have a problem with sex and relationships and whatever kind of person you find attractive. But at the same time, this kind of talk about women as if like they're only good for being a breeding factory, like that is actual objectification. It's crazy how people talk about this shit. It's disgusting. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
And Taylor Swift has been all, through America and the ups and the downs. And if you feel that violent shaking in your home, that is the earthquake of the pop culture. If you hear that high-pitched scream, those are the young ladies on your block screaming. And honestly, Pfizer pays well, baby. I mean, Pfizer pays the bills. That is quite a ring, Mr. Kelsey. I'm impressed.
Do you think, Charlie, look, I get it, dude. You're a right-wing political pundit. You have to make everything about this shit. But, like, dude, he is a football star for a team that has won the Super Bowl multiple times. You really think he's just making his money off of Pfizer? Christ, dude. These people are insufferable.
I got to be honest. We don't know exactly how much Pfizer paid you to peddle that product, but boy, you brought in the Benjamin, sir. That is some impressive carrots right there. That right there has its own zip code. I'm impressed. All kidding and sarcasm aside, this is something that I hope will make Taylor Swift more conservative. Engage in reality more and get outside of the abstract clouds. Reject feminism. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. And most importantly, I can't wait to go to a Taylor Kelsey concert. I can't say it without laughing.
Dude, there's a YouTube channel. It's called Love Don't Judge. And they do a lot of, actually, I think a lot of their videos are really interesting. They work to kind of break down different stigmas and stereotypes people might have on couples that are very different. Some of them more questionable than others, but like, I remember like one of them is like, let me see if I can find it real quick. All right, I found it. There's this video of this girl who is
This is Lorraine.
she like is basically like a full-time dog, and full admission, I think puppy play to an extent is cute. I think it's really hot. I think the idea of like, a girl crawling to you with like on her knees and you put a leash on her and shit, yeah, it's pretty hot, not gonna lie. But as people who have also reacted to this video have pointed out, and my friends and stuff have pointed out as we watch this, like, it's really weird when she's like actually outside acting as a dog. But you know what this is? This is public display of kink. And kink is perfectly fine, especially in the confines of your own house. And what Charlie Kirk is doing here is public display of kink. This obsession with the breeding and you must submit to your husband, all those different things. Dude, look, I don't kink shame. But holy shit, dude. Just let your kink be your kink. If you want, like, if you're into submission and you're into, you have like a breeding fetish or whatever, just say that. Why do you have to build this whole crazy political movement around it, dude? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's like, if you had like a gay person, doing like the leather thing or whatever, a leather daddy, I think they're called. I don't know much about that stuff. People like Charlie would be like, oh, this is obscene, this is blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he can just go on and say how, women should be, barefoot and pregnant, and you need to submit to your husband and all those different things. It's like, no, dude, stop being fucking weird about this shit, man. Like, stop. Crazy.
You got to change your name. If not, you don't really mean it. Congratulations, Taylor.
Also, you got to change your name. Oh, Taylor Swift is like a stage name at this point. It's her handle on everything. Like, she's not gonna. I mean, she might do like Taylor Swift Kelsey or something. Like, that would make sense. But she's Swift. She's Swift. The fans are called Swifties. Like, come on, man. Does he talk any more about this, or are we gonna get into bullshit from here? Oh, there's more. Okay.
That if you want young ladies to become more conservative, we should encourage and celebrate marriage. The 3 M's: get a mortgage, get married, and mate. I will say the power that Taylor, the 3 M's: get a mortgage, get married, and mate.
Hold up.
And celebrate marriage. The 3 M's: get a mortgage.
Is that his wedding ring? If that's not your wedding ring, if you're not wearing your wedding ring full time, dude, I don't think you really mean it to your wife. Gotta be wearing that wedding ring all the time, man.
Get married and mate. I will say the power that Taylor Swift has, she could.
And if that is his wedding ring, that's fucking crazy, dude.
Inspire a lot of young ladies to want to get married. It's going to be very interesting on campus. A lot of these Swifties who hate me are always like, Charlie, stop talking about marriage all the time. Well, your queen is getting married, and maybe you should too. Something happens when you get married. This is a great clip. One of our listeners sent it to me. I want to just make sure I mention the listener. It's from HBO, Real Time with Bill Maher. Cliff emailed it to us, freedom@charliekirk.com. And this is an actress by the name of Whitney Cummings.
Oh,
really important piece of tape. Her on Real Time with Bill Maher. Play cut 355.
Even Bill Maher couldn't help but laugh at this woman's transformation from liberal to a conservative mom.
It's been fascinating because I've been on this sort of journey through motherhood where, I've always been a very liberal person, maybe even a libtard. But once you have a kid, you start like having thoughts that have been characterized as conservative. As soon as I had a kid, I was like, I need a gun now. Not for myself, because I've got coyotes in my yard. I've got coyotes everywhere. And before I had a kid, I was like, they coexist with us. Coyotes were here first. Like, I'm in the coyotes' home. Now I'm like, let's make hats out of them. Let's make hats.
All right, I feel like this is going to get me copyright struck. It's okay. It's okay to how do I put this? It's okay to what she's saying here is that, like, she wanted to get a gun to protect her kid, which is something that is often related to conservatives. This is one of those things, like, conservatives don't like own the idea of like protecting yourself or your loved ones or marriage and love and things like that. They don't own like beauty and like all these different, like, these are things most people understand and adhere to regardless even of their like political leanings or what have you. So the fact that people like this are always trying to make this like a huge, it's so funny because like they'll always be like, you made it political, but it's like, dude, you are taking an engagement that two people are having who seemingly love each other, and you're making it political. Like, that's what you do. That's what you just do.
Is unique. I don't find most female comedians funny. Nothing sexist. I don't. And so usually they're so crass.
Oh God, you're one of those people. Oh my God. Okay, whatever. That's a whole nother can of worms.
That's quite funny. And it goes towards a more fundamental truth, which is having children changes you. And that is the point, is that as we have had a dramatic fertility collapse in the West, we shouldn't be shocked at how it's changed us. Not having children has changed the West, and having children can change your core beliefs. That is why when we were in the dark night of the soul, that is why when we were in the wilderness, what did we go and build the entire movement upon? The Parents' Party. It was parents at school board meetings. That was the basis that launched us out of the January 6th nightmare, out of the raids, the FBI, the ATF, the DOJ. It was grassroots parents, and it is parents that will save this nation. And it's not a moral marker. If you don't have children, that doesn't make you a less...
Is he saying like pro-clutching wine moms are like the root of conservatives? Because I agree with that. That's not a good thing, but yes. And they often... It's so funny. It says like, oh, having children will change you. Yeah, you know what else happens? The things that you grew up with that were like rebellious and things are often things that later become loved by conservatives. Look at, I love using these examples. Look at like how many conservatives love things like classic rock and stuff like that, or even like metal and, you know, punk to an extent even, although I would argue they don't really understand it, but all these different things, or how much media they consume, and they're like, oh, like, you know, like something like Alien or Terminator 2, like, you know, isn't woke or whatever, when it's like, dude, like, if this shit came out today, you would hate it. Like, the things that, like, Elvis Presley and the Beatles and, like, Chuck Berry and like, all these people did, and, like, Bob Dylan and all these people, like, you would hate these people today. You know, it's what's that phrase? It's like every conservative support every social cause except the current, like every previous social cause except the current one, something like that. Yeah, like that's always how it goes. And it's just like they love all the previous art, they just don't love the new stuff. And it's like, dude, this same shit's gonna happen again and again. This is just how it always goes. And I wish we as a society, as people would like realize this and would stop doing it over and over. We'd stop this stupid cycle, but we don't. We continue it ad nauseum.
It doesn't make you a worse person, but I think we can all agree that having more children is not just a good thing, it's a necessary thing to reverse the entire fertility collapse that is facing our society and our civilization. When you think about it, getting married is a couple.
You know, part of the fertility collapse that people freak out about so much is because of the fact that, like, we had a baby boom after World War II. There's a reason it was called the baby boom. That amount of children was unprecedented, even for its time. So the idea that we're going to keep having children at replacement rate forever is insane. We'd need something to cause another baby boom, and that's just ridiculous. Like I said, many people don't need to have children, don't need to get married. It is what it is.
Mental thing. When you have children, you think of everything differently. You go out less. You don't drink alcohol. You watch movies differently. You don't view marijuana the same way.
Oh my god, it's so funny him talking about this. It's so there's this like mythological view a lot of people have about children and marriage and all these different things, where it's like, oh, it changes your whole outlook on life, and for some people it does. But there are many people who will still be that drunken, partying, whatever kind of person. Again, these are the kind of people who I say shouldn't have children. You shouldn't encourage people and almost force people to have children with the expectation that's going to change them. You should instead encourage people that have changed in some way. Well, I mean, really, you should just encourage people to like be themselves and like figure out what works for them in life. And if they find that, hey, like I actually do want to have a child, and like I think I'd be a good parent for these reasons and different stuff. It's like, okay, that's understandable. That's respectable. Like I can get behind that. I can appreciate and respect your decision to have a child. But I don't think anybody should, you know, have kids because they feel like it's what they're supposed to do or anything like that. Which is what people like Charlie ultimately advocate for.
If there are no children, there is no tomorrow. You view food differently. You view doctor's visit differently. It changes your entire perspective, and it happens more and more so over time.
You view food and doctors. Oh my god. I'm sure it's obvious for many of you watching, but you view food differently because now you're sharing it with other people in your house, and you are having to get food not just for yourself, but also for them who cannot fend for themselves. And you view doctor's visits differently because now you are not just worrying about your own health for your own health's sake, but you're also worrying about it for your loved ones and specifically your children's. And you're having to take them to the doctors as well to make sure that they are developing properly and everything. This isn't some like magical, this like, oh my god. You know, actually, it's crazy. Millie Bobby Brown and her husband, I want to say, recently had a child also. And you know what they did? They adopted them. And I think, personally, I have a lot more respect for people that adopt a kid rather than have their own through like pregnancy. Because I'm sorry, anybody can get knocked up. Anybody can get pregnant and have a kid. A lot of times it happens on accident. Not all the time, but but for people to go out of their way and to say, we want to have a child, we want to take a child from an environment that could be really bad for them, and we want to raise them, that's really beautiful. I really, really appreciate that. I really respect that.
Once you are a parent, you start to think of, oh, my kid would like that, or I don't want my kid to see that, or I don't want my kid to walk down that street, or I don't want my kid to have to be hassled by a homeless person. I find that it is those without children and not married that tend to not care about the stuff that we as conservatives care about. They don't care about littering, they don't care about crime as much, they don't care about homeless people, because it's just themselves in their own little world. It makes
No, that's okay. Liberals and people on the left, whatever you want to call them, tend to think about these kind of things a lot, actually. Like, one of the big things is like climate change. We think about how is that going to affect not just myself, and again, I'm someone who doesn't even want children, but how are things like that going to affect future generations? How is the current framework that we have and the current dismantling of the United States government and everything that's happening throughout the world in general, how is that going to affect future generations? Like, we think about these kind of things all the time. I'm not think about things like, I don't worry about something like, oh no, there's a gay person in a movie, because I don't care if a kid sees that. Do you care if there's a straight couple kissing in a movie? No. Because it's not about, oh, I don't want them to be introduced to sexuality. You just don't want them to know gay people exist. Like, what are you talking about?
society fundamentally more decent. Why? Because it makes us, you and me, and Taylor Swift and Whitney Cummings more decent. And again, Taylor Swift, if she has 4, 5, 6 children, be amazing. That will be a conservatizing event, no doubt. And there are some exceptions. There are some celebs that stay libs and they trans their kids and they do all that stuff.
I do want to say this as well. If you're inspired by a celebrity like Taylor Swift, and you're like, okay, now I gotta get married, I think that's the wrong message to take. If you're inspired and you think, okay, now I really want to get married, now this like gives me more motivation, I think that's fine. Or this gives me more motivation to have children or whatever, I think that's fine. But please don't do anything just because your favorite celebrity is doing it. That's ridiculous.
Okay, but I do believe that if Taylor Swift all of a sudden has a moment when her teachers try and change the pronouns of her kids, that's probably a conservatizing event. Look, I think Taylor Swift's got to go.
Conservatizing event. Oh my god. Teachers are not changing kids' pronouns. Kids are saying, hey, I don't really, align with whatever it might be. Or they might introduce them, to the idea that, like, there are people born this way that align more with this stuff, and people born this way that align more with this stuff. And there are people born this way that don't align with either. And kids look at that and they say, okay, I think, like, you have a kid in like a boy's body, if you will, and they're like, okay, I think I actually relate more to, like, wearing dresses, and I want to grow my hair, and like I want to be a girl or whatever, like, and maybe they change their name or whatever, and then the teacher like accepts that and what have you, but they're not like you know, there's this like weird idea that a lot of conservative people have, where they think that teachers are like going to like cis kids and they're telling them like a cis boy, and they're like, you're gonna be a girl now, you have to be a girl now, or they're going, you know, they don't really worry so much about like trans guys for some reason. So you know, but they're like terrified of this stuff. It's I don't know, it's crazy. It's not happening.
Full Mormon. I think 6 kids minimum. I mean, think about what a conservative
6 kids minimum. Yeah, Taylor could afford that. The average person can barely afford 1. God damn, dude.
Taylor Swift would be for the country. It'd be an amazing thing. And overall, I think this is wonderful. I hope they have a lot of happiness, and I hope they have a lot of joy and a lot of children. And
I hope they have a lot of happiness. And wait, what's he gonna say?
I hope the women of America will have less cats and more children. Your queen is getting married, and so should you.
Oh my god. I hope that they have a lot of love and happiness. And I hope they have as many children as they do or don't want to. If they don't want to have any children, more power to them. If they want to have 1 or 2 or whatever, more power to them. Whatever they want to do. You know why? Because it's their life. And it's the same for you watching. If you're inspired by their marriage or whatever, by all means. But it's your life. Don't try to copy theirs or whatever. Like, live your life how you want to live it. It's your life. People that talk about this stuff in the way that Charlie just was, like, it's so, for one, it shows you how people like him really view women. They really do view women as just like child rearers, and like that's it. And oh, you need to submit to your husband, you need to have a ton of children and like all that stuff. It's like, dude, if people don't want to get married or don't want to have kids, or like, this is the other thing, like, I don't understand this like obsession with submitting, again, in like a kink setting or whatever. I get it. You know, it can be fun, it can be hot. But like, if you're spending your entire life with somebody, don't you want a partner? Don't you want somebody who's like actually your equal? I can't imagine being in a relationship where like I make all the decisions and my girlfriend or wife like never says anything. Like, is that what these people want? That sounds like a miserable life. It's also like, why even here? Like, I'm doing everything. Like, what are you even here? Like, I'm doing everything. What are you here for? I can clean for myself. I can cook for myself. Like, what? I don't get it. The obsession these people have too with like the cooking and cleaning and shit. Like, and you can't even tell me it's like they're interested in sex, because you hear the way these people talk about sex too, where they're like, you have sex so much with a woman, you don't even want to have sex with her anymore. It's like, what are you talking about? If you love this woman and you find her attractive and all that, why are you not like, you know, constantly wanting to like, you know, pardon the fucking crassness here, but fuck her brains out. That's the kind of, I don't know, that's the kind of, you know, relationship I very much enjoy. One in which my partner and I are like just so in love and in lust with each other. We're just constantly like, you know, but also very lovey-dovey and stuff. I don't know, it's crazy. I'm like a hopeless romantic and a fucking horn dog at the same time. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a very interesting dynamic that I have, but people are really weird about relationships like this, and I don't get it, man. It's like, look, if you find some inspiration or you're a huge fan of Taylor or whatever, that's great. By all means, enjoy it. You know, this is a really positive thing, and I hope that people who are happy about this get everything that they want from it. I hope that it's a great wedding and they enjoy the ride, and it's just, you can live vicariously through this or something, or, you know, that's great. More power to you. People that are like, again, shitting on others for nerding out about this stuff, let them have fun. Don't yuck other people's yum. And people like Charlie, who are being really weird about this and are like, oh, this is going to be a huge moment for conservatives and everyone's going to be getting married and having children because Taylor did, and your queen got married, so now you need to submit to your husband and you need to have children. It's like, stop being so fucking weird about this shit. And stop with the public displays of kink. holy shit, dude, it's crazy, man. You can be into what you're into, but when you start forcing other people to do it, that's when it's an issue, man. I don't know. As always, guys, these are just my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. And if not, I hope you find something to do like. Later, guys. Peace and love.